Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of CJ's Coins and Crafts. This is the next episode of our US Commemorative Series. This episode is going to cover the 1936 Elgin, Illinois Centennial Half Dollar. Elgin, Illinois is located about 30 miles west of Chicago. It was founded in 1835 by James and Hezekiah Gifford while looking for a site on the stagecoach route from Chicago to Galena, a village in 1847, later named a city in 1854. The city had a watch company that was founded there that became well known, but also notable for the production of tools, shoes, wood products, and weekly church bulletins. The sculptor Trygve Rovelstad, born to Norwegian immigrants in the United States, sought to erect a statue in his hometown of Elgin as a monument to those pioneers who had settled Illinois. The city leaders approved, and in 1934, a foundation was laid for the statue in Davison Park, the site of the Giffords' first cabin. Rovelstad was unable to raise the money to construct and erect the statue, but having learned of recent commemorative coin issues, decided this would be a good means of funding the statue. The sculptor had a bill introduced in Congress in May 1935, but was not initially considered. News of the bill appeared in the July 1935 issue of The Numismatist, which prompted Lyman W. Huffaker having wrote to the Elgin Centennial Monumental Committee inquiring how the coins were to be distributed. There was correspondence between Hofecker and Rovelstad, where Hofecker gave tips on how to deal with Congress. He did not know yet that Rovelstad was a sculptor and informed him in September about the models to be submitted. Quote, "These should be about 10 inches in diameter, and this is where your trouble commences. These sculptors all want to incorporate their own ideas in the design and ask anywhere from $400 to $1,000 for the work, telling you what trouble it is to get the approval of the Commission of Fine Arts and many other things which do not exist." End quote. Hofecker also offered to handle the issue for the committee. He proposed to advance the money necessary to purchase the new coins from the government and how to handle distribution, stating also that he was not a coin dealer. However, the letterhead that he had used for the communication said loans and mortgages under his name. He also warned Rovelstad it would not be good for either of us if the word got out you had disposed of the entire issue to me. In October 1935, Hofecker made a formal offer based on the bill, which called for 10,000 half dollars, which he would pay the Elgin Committee $12,000 and sell the coins at $2 each. Rovelstad agreed to Hofecker's deal by letter in November. Illinois Representative Chauncey Reed had introduced the Elgin coin legislation on Rovelstad's behalf, and both the sculptor and Hofecker worked with him to advance the bill through Congress. The two men had hoped to keep the mintage to 10,000 to be able to sell the coins at a higher price. Hofecker hoped to lower the number, urging the sculptor to lobby for a decrease, noting how much work it would be to sell 25,000 coins, and they could not command it as high as a price. Hofecker visited Washington once in February and twice more in May to lobby members of Congress, fearing that President Franklin Roosevelt would start vetoing the commemorative bills. The bill finally passed, signed by Roosevelt on June 16, 1936. The bill required the coins to be struck at a single mint and to bear the date 1936, regardless of when they were struck. All 25,000 would have to be paid for by the chairman of the Elgin Committee, which was Rovelstad, at one time. Work between the pair was done to prompt the coins to be struck at the Denver Mint, as it was the closest mint to El Paso, where Hofecker lived, to minimize shipping charges. But this request was declined, and all coins were struck at the Philadelphia Mint. Once Rovelstad submitted his designs for the coin to the mint, they were forwarded to the Commission of Fine Arts, arriving on July 15, 1936. They were approved 2 days later with the request that the head of the Pioneer that was on the obverse and three-quarter view to be in profile instead. The sculptor complied, submitted plaster models by mid-August. Photographs were reviewed by Lee Laurie, a sculptor member of the commission, with Laurie having complaints that he could not see the object behind the pioneers and that the gun appeared to be held awkwardly. Laurie also stated that some of the lettering should be strengthened, but also if Mint director Nellie Taylor Ross was not bothered by these items, the coin could go forward. Commission Chairman Charles Moore indicated that he had no desire to delay the coin and forwarded the Commission's recommendation on condition that the Mint do what it could to address the previous issues. With the exception of possible work on lettering, no other changes were made. Once the Commission had approved the designs, they were sent immediately to the Medallic Art Company of New York, which reduced the plaster models to coin-sized hubs. In early October 1936, the Philadelphia Mint struck 25,000 pieces, with 15 extra for inspection and testing by the 1937 Assay Commission. Rovestad went to Philadelphia to witness the initiation of production and stayed at the home of Mint chief engraver John Sinnock. The first 10 pieces were handed to the sculptor, who placed them in paper envelopes and took them home to Illinois. According to his wife Gloria, he was offered a job at the Mint by Sinnock, but declined. The obverse of the Elgin Centennial Half Dollar depicts a pioneer with the legend above him. The year 1673 marks the year explorers Louis Joliet and Jacques Marquette entered what is now Illinois. Although the coin was issued for Elgin Centennial, neither the date of founding nor the anniversary appears. The reverse side depicts a group of pioneers, 4 adults and a baby in its mother's arms. The group is a model of the memorial that Rovestad hoped to build. The grouping had also appeared on Rovestad's 1935 medal for Elgin's Centennial. Rovestad placed both on the medal on the base for the statue the words, "To the men who have blazed the trails, who have conquered the solid, and who have built an empire in the land of Illini." Inclusion of the various models required by statute, such as "In God We Trust," meant that not even part of this dedication could be placed on the coin. The name of the city was not in the original models that Rovestad sent Hofeckers for his comments, which the numismatist wrote on July 15th. I would not overlook putting the word Elgin on your coin, as it would be a good ad for your city. Once the legislation was enacted, Hofecker and Rovestad came to a new agreement. Hofecker would advance the money for the new coins, pay for the die making and shipping costs, which were the committee's responsibility under the legislation. The coins would be sold at $1.50 each, with Hofecker taking 35 cents per coin as commission. The coins were to remain on sale through Hofecker until January 1st, 1937. On July 1st, 1936, Hofecker sent 3,500 letters offering the new coins to people who were on his mailing list or had previously inquired about the coin. He claimed to have 7,000 orders already and urged collectors to not delay. His bank offered to have the coins shipped there and to carry the coins as part of its cash on hand, which would allow him to pay for them as the orders came in, but he preferred to pay for the coins at the start. The Philadelphia Mint shipped 24,990 coins to Hofecker on October 7th, 1936, which were received 4 days later. He wrote to Frank Duffield, editor of the Numismatist, stating that he had the envelopes for already ordered pieces all prepared and hoped to mail the last of them by the evening of October 13th. The editor commented that this sounds like a real service. Several hundred pieces had been ordered through banks in Elgin and eventually sold over 1,000 pieces. The Elgin Watch Company even purchased 100 coins. By November 1936, 16,170 pieces had been sold and only about 2,000 were sold in the following 4 months. The rest of the sum was parted out through dealers that were interested, with the last 5,000 coins being returned to the Mint for melting. Rovestad used the profits from the half dollar to continue his work on his statuary group. He sought direct funding from the federal government in 1938 and from the Illinois legislature the following year without success. Up to his death in 1990, he had only completed a plaster model, which still needed to be bronzed. Shortly before his death, he told his wife, I've lived a full life and have no regrets. I want to thank you for taking the time to watch these videos. If you guys like this content, please hit the like button. If you guys want to see specific coins, or if you have any other comments, please put that in the comment section below. I appreciate you guys taking the time to watch these videos. We'll see you on the next one.